some interesting setups going on here. You can see that, when the buying starts to level out, you can see by all these kind of bluish green squares here, you can see where the buying starts to die out. We had a sell-off here. We see buying was pretty weak here, and the market sold off. And then we had buying activity. And remember, the blue line indicates buying activity. The white or the yellowish line here is the selling activity in the market. And it can't go above 1. It can't go below 0. It can't be a negative number, in other words. And it measures whether or not buying or selling is coming into the market. You can see here that buying was pretty topped out here. We had a kind of a triple top here on the buying activity, and it can't go above 1. It was up around 97. That's a pretty high number. Eventually, there's waves of buying and selling. If you didn't see my first video, go back. I explained that in more detail. When buying starts to kind of get loose, it's the time for the market to decline. So, we've been really, really lucky here because it really does help you, when the market is potentially topping out like it was here, or when it's actually being accumulated like it was here, and it was, being accumulated here. So what we've got now is basically a divergence situation. I once in a while this happens. We've got the buying coming up, which is good. So, the market is starting to rise a little bit. Basically what it's saying to me is that the amount of buying, actual dollars being put into stocks that are rising, is very, very low at this point. That's what the blue line is. The blue line is the amount of dollars going into stocks. And the gray line matches the blue lines, but it's an internal number of the number of stocks advancing on a proprietary level. So when you've got a divergence like this, it means that prices are going up, but there's not much volume, there's not much money behind them. It's just that the sellers really haven't stepped up to the plate yet. So what we're looking for is that divergence. We would like to see at the end of the hour, because I use hourly charts, that the buying kind of comes back up again, because it looks like at this point the divergence is such that the buying is extremely weak, and there's really not much money behind this move. And that's really critical. That's what we want to look at. We want to see how much money is behind the move. So one of my favorite vehicles is the 3X large cap bear. And what I do is I kind of take a look and see where, where the market is kind of like showing where selling is starting to come in here. And right now I've got this showing that, selling was extremely light down here. Now this is the 3X bear, remember. This is the opposite of the market. It moves opposite the market. If you want to play the upside, use BGU. That is the the large cap bull 3X, and that will go up with the market. BGZ goes up when the market goes down. It's the opposite. So right now, we're taking a look at it. 3306. We could take a look at, something a little bit in that area, because the lowest we went so far is 3262. And that was back in here. We see this divergence, so what we're going to do is we're going to step up to the plate and start buying pretty soon here. We just like to see the selling line, which is the yellow line, get above 50. As soon as it gets back above 50, we're going to put in our order to buy. So hold on. I'll be back in a few minutes. Let's see how the day progresses. Yeah, hi, I'm back. So when we left off the last video, we had this divergence between the amount of volume going into stocks and the number of stocks actually advancing. And you could see down here, if we're take a look at the screen, the indicator down here, you could see that the volume was low, the number of stocks going up was high, and we indicated at that point that kind of a divergence normally leads to selling. Well, we opened up today and the market sold off immediately, and it continues to sell. However, we have another divergence developing here. We have a lot of volume going into a few stocks that are declining, and there's almost no buying volume coming in whatsoever. So, but the number of stocks declining is not that. The number of stocks advancing is pretty low too. But we've got this huge divergence again. Normally, we do not have a divergence when the move is real. For example, on this, when the market went up here, we had volume followed actually the number of issues going up and down based on our proprietary formula. There was a good convergence of both volume and the issues showing a real advance. Now we have quite a divergence here between the volume going into stocks that are declining. Now, it doesn't mean that we go long yet. It doesn't mean we go buy anything to go long. But when we had this divergence here, we went short the market and did very well. Now we're looking for an opportunity to buy. We are still declining. We have to take a look at the slope. This could peak out, but we don't know yet. We have to wait. The slope is still going up, so we need to wait until we see the slope starting to come down, and we need to see the buying start to pick up before we initiate positions to go long the market at this point. But you can tell that, gave us a good warning sign that selling was going to come into the market, because this little buying spree in on this hourly chart was basically a false move because there was no volume behind it. All right, guys, what I'll do is update this in a few minutes or in another hour. Since I did the last recording, a few hours have passed and we're into a new day. And the selling did come into the market. Now we have to watch for this divergence to see if the number of issues declining will actually catch up to the volume, and whether or not the selling volume, this is the amount of money going into selling stocks. So when there's a lot of volume going into selling stocks, then stocks will probably continue to decline. If that starts to tail off, if we start to get a slope sideways, if it goes sideways or goes down a little bit, then it gives an opportunity for the buyers to step in and start pushing this market higher. We have to wait for that signal, though. So we'll be back in a few minutes as soon as that signal comes through and see if we can get an opportunity to come in here and buy.